Alright, greetings beautiful people. So I'll make a second part on this, and the reason why is because one thing I want to add on is this. The system fails, okay? The only way that it can sustain itself is with your consent. So they'll now propose situations for you where they're basically like tests, you know what I'm saying? They're going to show how you emit your frequency, which is basically looking like this. If they have a business, they'll actually show you that they will not service you unless you put a mask on. They want to know how you'll react to that. Do you know what happens when you comply and put that mask on? You show and you emit this frequency out that you need them that much because you put your mask on to go buy what they need. So you buy in so many different ways you wouldn't even know. So nobody does anything to you, but you can just basically turn around and say, well, then I'm not wearing a mask. You know what I'm saying? And walk out, no emotions. And you'd be surprised how much you get out of those situations. And I'm not talking about get out anything where it's satisfying anything human. It's literally satisfying what you really are. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying when I talk about like the human ego aspect of like doing things, where people would go in and try to put up a fight and say, I'm a sovereign being. You know what I'm saying? That's all ego. Who gives a fuck? They want you to put a mask on in their business. Walk out. Say, well, then I ain't giving you service. I ain't giving you business. They need your business more than you need theirs. Because here's the thing. If you don't wear a mask, you ain't gonna fall apart. But if you don't give them business, they will collapse and they would have to change their way of doing things. You don't realize the power you have. That's the thing. When you realize the power you have, you have the ability to manipulate the things to your favor. I mean, as I mentioned in the previous video in part 1, you pay for the police, you pay for these big cities. Because you're told that that's true abundance, but the police was meant to serve and protect you. But since you have consented through ignorance to so many different avenues of how the system should work with your participation, the police now works for the city, yet you're paying for it. Because the police, I mean, they do more for the city, meanwhile making money for the city in the form of traffic tickets, parking tickets, moving violations, you know what I'm saying? All these different fines that they give people to make the city richer, yet you're paying the police. And yet you pay the fines to the city. So the city siphons everything out of you. Emotions, energy, money, all different kinds of ways. And you find that normal, and now you want to adjust to a new normal, which is basically being told what to do now. See what I'm saying? Like, people complain about free will, but you have no willpower. Stand your ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is, it's a pollution. Look at how you really participate in this system, and you will see why this system is the way it is in the current moment in your day now. It's all starting because of your consent and empowerment toward that outcome. So now check this out. You hear, and let's say what I talk is pure garbage, pure bullshit, garbage. Let's just say everything that everybody says is subjective. One thing that's fact is that your mind is all in the universe is mental, right? Which is why scientifically is proven that the placebo and nocebo effect exists. Where if I have a sugar pill and I tell you and convince you, because it's all about convincing you, right? Rather than convincing yourself, I'm the one convincing you that this sugar pill, I tell you that this is the latest medication. This is going to heal all your ailments. And I market this so well for you, you'll believe it so wholeheartedly that you'll feel better. But you'll only feel better, but it was only a band-aid to a wound. Did you really get better though? You get what I'm saying? Because now you become dependent on that medication. And if you don't get that medication, these symptoms somehow arise in you again, right? And notice how through time, because the ailment wasn't addressed, supposedly the medication doesn't work on you anymore. And now they have to give you a stronger one, further altering the body's natural chemistry. This vessel, as I told you, is your tool, the most powerful tool to alchemically transform you. Self-realization and self-actualization, it can only be done through this vessel, through this experience. But it takes standing your ground. And since this is a duality matrix and it depends on polar opposites to exist, wouldn't you have to be open-minded toward how both sides are working? Because at the end of the day, both sides are supporting the same thing. Look at how this works. The executive order was signed for the people to supposedly protect them from a virus that nobody knows exists or how it even works. You're just being told that it will kill you the same way you're told that Santa Claus existed at one point in your youth, and you goofy ass never even saw Santa Claus. So you're told that there's a virus that's going to kill you, so you believe it. And what do? Right? So now they sign an executive order to supposedly keep you safe. So now people who own a business comply with that executive order, yet they need the business of the consumer, yet they refuse to service the consumer. They refuse the business, all because of an executive order, yet it doesn't matter if it's the business operator or the consumer. They're part of the same team. They're the same, they're the people that executive order pertains to, except that it pertains to one a little bit different than it would pertain to the other. But technically, the business owner is on the same team as the consumer, because you're both people. Whoever signed that executive order is on the large stage, and it's all in the interest of creating one, separation, and two, a profit. And first and foremost, to see how you react, how one end of the spectrum of people react compared to the other spectrum of people. And instead of just coming to a realization and common ground, which, believe it or not, they both have as much common ground as you could possibly think of. For one, they need your business, okay? But to tell you the truth, the consumer doesn't need the business as much as the business owner would need the consumer. Their business will fall apart. And then what happens? Right? But that's how everything in the economy works. And sometimes it's just basically common sense thinking. You know what I'm saying? It really isn't, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to be out here. All it does is require for you to have an open mind. It's like if I have a closed hand, I'm only holding on to what I know, and I can't give anything, but I can only hold on to what I have. With an open hand, I can give and I can receive. Okay? I can learn and I can give information, right? And there's a reciprocity when your hands are open. So when your mind is open, okay, to polar opposites, you'd be surprised how many dots connect between the two to keep you in that empowered, neutral state that I always talk about. You know, the chaos basically happens at the outside of the tornado, but when you're in the eye of the hurricane or the tornado, all right, you're basically in the calmest state possible. All the emotions are on the polar opposite ends. So when I went into that vape shop today, I mean, just the fact that I was able to, in an instant, oh, no problem, turned around, got in my car, paid no mind to it, literally forgot about it. But I always like to journal my things. So in the interest of journaling, this is one of my ways of journaling, which is technology. These are my records. So if I have my records, I can always go back and watch my videos. And I put it public so that if it can actually turn somebody else on. You know what I'm saying? But magic, rituals. Let's say, for example, I mentioned in the previous video about rituals and magic. If you do a ritual, let's say if you want to lose weight, okay? You go and buy a diet pill. If you take that diet pill and you're still eating garbage, let's say McDonald's, donuts, fast foods, garbage that will put weight around your waist, then are you helping that pill work? See, you're depending on that pill as if it was God, like a magic pill, where you could take that pill and you could still eat whatever you want and you'll lose weight. And it doesn't work like that. You have to help the pill work, because at the end of the day, the pill ain't God. You're the one that helps that pill work. You put that pill to work because it's a thermogenic, but it ain't gonna work unless you do the work. It's the same thing with everything else. You want to empower yourself. You want to become more acute in your perception of how you see things. It requires literally having an open mind. One would ask, well, how do you think that way? It's just basically literally having an open mind. That's all it is. Because when you have a closed mind, you open yourself up to debates. And when you open yourself up to debates, it's because your hands are like this and the other one is like this. And what happens? You start going and versing each other. That's where the chaos on the outside of that neutral state comes in. See, somebody who's religious, anybody could talk to me about whatever. I could talk about, you know, the situations that are happening, somebody being really, really indoctrinated into the system of how, you know, complying and whatnot. I ain't getting triggered by that. I'm going to talk to that person, but I'm going to start to question a lot of where that person's mentality is going and how it even pertains to me. And believe it or not, that's where the flood of information starts to come in. When you start to add yourself in the equation and not take yourself out by pointing the finger at that person. Because what happens when you're pointing the finger at that person? As the pointer, you're pointing all the energy to that person. Okay? That's why they say, what's your point? Where are you getting at? Because you're getting only to that source of energy, of what you're energizing, and that's it. But if you completely block all that out and redirect that back to you, now you're energizing yourself on a cellular level to the point where you'll open yourself up to the acute perception of how shit works. And you do that, it could happen in your waking life right now, where you're just you'll see the experiences happen. Like I told you, things will start to come in so quick. Like the Flash, how in the movie everything starts to slow down because he's so fast, yet they have to slow everything down. So he's the only one that's so fast, they have to make everything so slow. So fast, yes, so slow. So large, yes, so small. So you can make yourself so large, yet so small, yes, so large. It's something to really think about. But when you sit back, you could do this in your waking life, or you could just reflect on it. When you reflect on it, keeping your mind down that state, not in the victim mentality, things start to just make sense to you. But why? Because the senses become super senses. You're not thinking like a human. You're thinking like what you actually are. Way more above this whole shit, this whole experience. And this is why I heard what Ravana Noon said in one of his videos. And it's something that I've said And it made so much sense to me when he said, you can't change these people out here. You got to change it from within you. And I said, man, that's fucking brilliant. It really is. Why would you expend so much energy when these people are so ingrained and so indoctrinated? And sometimes maybe they just need to be diffused from your existence. Okay? They just need to be diffused from your existence the same way you would get rid of parasites from your system. And the less people pay attention to those people, either they will change because you changed, or they just cease to exist. Because it's either you ride the ascension, the big shift that all these conscious people are talking about, or you ride the new normal wave that they're proposing to you. And it's up to you to engage in that new normal that you would consider normal, to be told what to do, to be a sheep. They are showing you all this to stay home. They tell you stay home. Yet your goofy ass thinks that you staying home is staying in your place of residence. They would probably say, hey, we told you to stay home, but you took home as your place of residence. If there was ever a debate between you and the government, like, we told you to stay home, but we stayed home. Well, that's not what we meant by home. But yet you stayed home. Why do you think we have presidents? They'll create the drama, the scenario, the situation of chaos. They come out with the solution. Well, it would be the problem. Then you react, and then they come out with the solution. And you engage in that. So that's why we have presidents, because preside, and you're just nothing but a resident. Okay? So you took your place of residence as your home, when meanwhile your home is where the heart is. And if you're looking at it from a heart space, you're in an unconditional space where you don't look to see what you can get out of things, but you'll get much more out of it without even trying, just because you were in a much higher position than you would consider a human aspect. It's not what you can get as a human. You're just the luxury here is what you're experiencing. That's why people say, I have the luxury of doing that. Me di el lujo de hacer eso. That's how you say it in Spanish. But people think luxury is what you can actually have. All you're doing is now you have to sustain those physical luxuries by now experiencing, working harder to sustain that. So that's your real luxury. That's the illusion. You're sustaining, you're using the real luxury, which is your experience, in the form of work to sustain the physical luxury, the lux. Lux is luxury, the measure of light, the false light. Your time is very valuable. That's why they say, this right here, man, just in time. Because in time is how you create right now, in your now moment. I saw a pretty brilliant comment underneath by a YouTube channel. I don't know what, I forgot what it was. But, you know, he said, one who controls the now moment controls the past, and who controls the past controls the future. That was brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. But this is one of the reasons why I love doing what I do. I get some comments where I get a lot out of the comments too. My mind is open to that. It's not open to more victim by putting myself in the victim mode. If I put myself in a victim mode, then I am open to that. But if I put myself in the empowered state, and in the appreciation state, and in the open-minded state, that's what you will get more of back. I mean, it's just try it and you'll see that that's how it works. Now, I've noticed that a lot of people have been telling me that they're not getting notifications on my videos. And, you know, I've heard this from either family members or even like certain people that watch my channel. They're telling me that they didn't even know I made videos because you know, they haven't gotten notifications. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what that's about. I really don't care. Maybe if you're meant to watch my videos and you're here, then you're here for a reason. Pay attention. And, you know, I get as much out of you as you can get out of me. Because that's just what like minds do. Okay? Now, again, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. Even me talking to you here on camera is coming from within you, which means that all this information is already within you. You just happen to put yourself at the perfect place and time to attract this information to you, which is coming from inside you. So everything that I'm saying is coming from within you already. You just happen to place yourself in the perfect position at the perfect place and time based on a choice and decision or a mental state or an intent that you may have done that doesn't have to be a mirror reflection of what it is that placed you here in this now moment to manifest you watching this video. One thing that I know helps the algorithm is liking the video. So if you did like the video, I would appreciate it if you like it. And if you like my videos as you move forward, then continue to just hit the like. And maybe that'll change it where, you know, the algorithm will actually show the notifications for my videos. But that's not what I'm doing it for. But it's just a suggestion. So if you hit a like for me, you're hitting a like for yourself. Because I just told you that I'm coming from inside of you. You just happened with an intent that placed you here. You took an action and it manifested this video for you. So like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, we'll talk soon.